I used to think the quietest person in my office was the night security guard. His name was Frank, late 60s, always in the same faded navy jacket, carrying a dented flashlight even though every hallway had motion sensors that made the flashlight pointless. He remembered every employee's name without ever asking twice, and most people barely acknowledged him for it. I brought him coffee every Thursday. It wasn't some grand act of kindness, honestly. My train got me to the building about 20 minutes early, and there was a coffee stand outside the station. I bought one for myself and one for him, and we'd talk for 5 minutes about baseball, old cars, or how bad the elevators sounded that week. Then I'd head up to accounting on the 19th floor. We did that for almost 2 years. Then, one Thursday night, Frank looked at the elevator panel and refused to let me off on my own. He pressed the button for the lobby again, quietly, and I looked at him, confused. He wasn't confused. He was terrified. Without turning his head, he said, in a voice I'd never heard from him before, "Don't say anything until we're outside." That was the moment I understood. The coffee had never really been the point. My name is Daniel. I'm 37, and until 6 months ago, I was a senior financial analyst for one of the biggest commercial property management companies in Chicago. Nothing glamorous. We owned office buildings, shopping centers, warehouses, the kind of properties nobody thinks about unless an elevator breaks or the AC dies. I had worked there almost 9 years. No scandals, no office romances, no political games. At least that's what I believed. My wife used to joke that I was the most predictable man alive, and she wasn't wrong. Same time out the door every morning, same route to the train station, same black car. Every Thursday I bought a second one, and Frank would already be by the employee entrance with his clipboard under one arm. "Mornin', Danny." "Mornin', Frank." "You spoil me." "You've been saying that for almost 2 years, and you keep proving me right." Simple conversation, simple routine. Sometimes consistency is the closest thing adults get to friendship. Most employees rushed past him without making eye contact. Some didn't even know his name, and I never really understood it. Frank had worked in that building longer than almost anyone. He knew which elevators jammed in heavy rain, which heating pipes rattled every winter, which tenants always forgot their access cards. He remembered birthdays, mine included. When my father died the previous autumn, I came back after a week off. Frank didn't ask any awkward questions. He just handed me my visitor badge, even though I obviously didn't need one, and said quietly, "I'm sorry about your dad." No speech, no forced sympathy, just enough. Some people know exactly how much kindness another person can carry. People around the office joked about him sometimes. He probably sleeps in the security room. I bet he still has a flip phone. Guy probably thinks the internet's a fad. It was usually the ones who'd been there less than a year. Frank never reacted, just smiled, wished them a good day, held the door open anyway. Looking back, I think about how much people reveal about themselves by the way they treat someone who has nothing to offer them. At work, life felt stable. My manager Melissa trusted me with the big reconciliations, and the executive team rarely questioned my numbers because they knew I checked everything twice. My closest coworker, Ethan, sat across from me, louder and funnier than I was, and somehow convinced everyone that spreadsheets could be entertaining. He'd been trying to get me to play golf for 3 years. I kept saying no. "You know," he told me one morning, "if you die before retirement, all those unused vacation days just disappear." I'll remember that while I'm balancing the quarterly statements. You desperately need hobbies. I have one. What's that? I drink coffee with Frank. He laughed. I'm serious, he said. So am I said back. By lunchtime, most days blurred together. Invoices, lease adjustments, budget meetings, conference calls. Nothing exciting, and that's exactly why I liked it. Predictability pays better than excitement, or so I thought. One Thursday afternoon, just before people started leaving, Melissa stopped by my desk. Daniel, I need you to finish the Harbor Square reconciliation before Monday. No problem, I told her. She said it shouldn't take more than a couple hours, and I said I'd stay late. I appreciate it, she said. Most people groaned at overtime. I didn't mind it. The office after 7 got strangely peaceful. Phones stopped ringing, no meetings, no interruptions, just the hum of fluorescent lights. Around 7:30, Ethan packed up his laptop. Coming? I've got Harbor Square. He made a sympathetic face. See you tomorrow. The floor emptied within minutes, and by 8 I was completely alone. Or so I believed. Outside my window, the city shimmered under the rain, which had started tapping softly against the glass. I stretched my shoulders and kept working. Numbers usually made sense. People didn't always. About an hour later, I finally shut down my computer. The hallway was empty, motion lights flickering on section by section as I walked toward the elevators. Everything felt normal. The doors opened almost immediately, and Frank was standing inside, smiling. Burning the midnight oil again? You know me. I do. I stepped in. The doors closed. The elevator started down, and neither of us knew those next few seconds would change both our lives. Just before we reached my floor, Frank looked at the control panel, then slowly reached out and pressed the button for the lobby instead. His finger stayed on that button a beat too long. You missed my floor, I said. I know. His voice had changed completely, the warmth from every Thursday morning gone, his eyes fixed on the closed doors instead of on me. Don't say another word until we're outside. For a second, I honestly wondered if he was having some kind of medical episode. Frank. He barely shook his head, not dramatically, just enough to stop me from talking. The doors opened on the lobby. Frank didn't step out right away. He checked both directions through the glass entrance, like he was making sure nobody was waiting, then finally nodded toward. We walked out into the cool evening, the rain down to a steady drizzle, the sidewalks nearly empty. He waited until we were halfway across the street before stopping under the awning of a closed pharmacy and taking a slow breath. Daniel, when was the last time you changed your password? I blinked. My work password? He nodded. About 3 months ago. Anyone besides you know it? No. He studied my face for a second. I hope that's true. I laughed once, mostly out of confusion. Frank, what is this about? Instead of answering, he asked another question. Did Melissa ask you to stay late tonight? There was a knot forming in my stomach now. Yes. And Harbor Square? My eyebrows went up. How did you know that? I hear things. Frank. He rubbed his hands together, clearly choosing his words. I work nights. People forget I'm here. That part made sense. Executives stayed late. Cleaning crews came through after everyone left, and security guards heard things nobody meant for them to hear. But that was just the start, he said, glancing back at the tower. I saw 2 people go up to your floor about 20 minutes ago. I thought everyone left. So did they. Who? I couldn't see their faces. Maintenance? They weren't carrying tools. Cleaning crew? They used an executive key card. That didn't fit.